We have helped millions out there get loans and grants. We're doing everything we can for small businesses. But is the government doing everything they can for small businesses? Before we get right into that, let me go over quickly which areas right now are going to be getting small business loans and grants are still in your area. So take a look at this. We're going to bring this up for you here. Scranton, Pennsylvania gets ARPA grants. So if you're in Scranton, Pennsylvania, look for ARPA grants. Go click it in the Google engine. Orlando, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, $25 million for grants. If you're in Orange County, Orlando, Florida, click in the Google search engine. Go look there. Roanoke, Virginia, ARPA grants. Roanoke, Virginia. Tillamook Bay, Oregon, $1,000 grants. And Lincoln, Nebraska is offering assistance and grants as well. Plainfield, Connecticut, up to $25,000 in ARPA grants. Medford, Massachusetts, $5,000 grants in that area, I believe up to 20 businesses. Alameda County, California, ARPA grants, 5K home-based, 10K brick and mortar. That one expires on October 31st, so hurry up out there. Go get that grant. So let me move this out of the way now.
Yeah.
The main reason small business owners think we need a change. First thing's going to be the no idle deferment brings small business owners to the polls. Is that so? Let me know what you think about that down below. Is it because that they did not defer these idle loans down below? Let me know, because we know a lot of small businesses right now that are struggling needed it more now than ever. We've never gone through anything like this before. 2, idle $10,000 grant, the policy map, and the lack of funding. Is that a problem? Down below. The lack of transparency on loans and grants, the lack of transparency with the SBA, with the Congress, and with the Senate in the small business committees. Did they have any transparency? Because it was hard for small business owners to get any sort of feedback from the small business administration as they were trying to get loans and grants. And there was no transparency at all. Nobody knew what was going on. Most of the small businesses out there, they still don't know what's going on. Small business owners feel let down by seeing funds go out to other countries and climate change issues. The Inflation Reduction Act, per se, which it creates inflation, as they were saying, they're trying to create inflation, which is another good reason for them not to defer loans when they say they're trying to create inflation. But do you feel let down by seeing funds go to other countries? And for climate change, billions upon billions of dollars go out to other countries when America is facing its worst economic climate in history right now. What do you think about that? And oversight from the SBA has shown little to no control of how the SBA spends money they get. A lot of small businesses are like, we need somebody in there that's going to take the SBA by the horns, take it by the horns, and start controlling it. Is that one of the reasons for a vote, though? I don't know. You probably know that more than me. Would that deter your vote? Small business feels like they are without the help to get through the economic climate. Small biz owners are voting for the future. Inflation is one of the major causes for people rushing to the polls. They want to stop inflation. You know what else is big on the small business's mind? Inflation. And the third and one of the biggest things that America is facing right now at the polls for small businesses is they want to stop inflation. They're trying to stop this inflation, which is causing small businesses to go out of business. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. Is anything happening right now at the polls? Are small businesses now being looked at now? Maybe somebody can come out and say, hey, we need to give them a wild card of idle deferment. Do the interest thing. Do whatever you got to do. Help these small businesses out because we're losing our butts off over here. And you know what? The politicians needed to figure it out before it was too late. But ABC News, small business owners in Central Virginia are worried about starting to pay back federal COVID disaster loans. Are you? Restaurants are just one of the many industries in Central Virginia that are struggling to stay open even after the pandemic. Now their top priorities is start paying back federal COVID-19 disaster loans as a deferral period comes to ending soon. Rob Thompson, the owner of the Eggs Up and Grill, Chesterfield and Henrica counties, said it was tough opening up 2 restaurants in the middle of the pandemic. Whoa! He opened up 2 restaurants in the middle of the pandemic. But we got to realize, even in the middle of the pandemic, if inflation wasn't this bad. So it was probably looked a little bit different. Things look a little different when you started it, I'm sure, than they do right now, which is odd. They should have gotten better. Instead, they've gotten worse. But we're going to go. He also goes on to say, we struggled our first 6 months with staffing. Thompson said, I did 96 interviews over the telephone and 4 people would show up in person and I'd hire 2. He said raising inflation and supply and staffing shortages have created challenges for business owners. Has it? I think it has. There's no doubt about that. There's no going around it. And I just watched, I believe it was Nancy Pelosi that came out on the news and said, people need to stop talking about inflation. It's everywhere. No, people need to start talking more about inflation, Nancy. You need to start talking about, our politicians need to start talking about inflation, not just the Republicans. We need the Democrats to take a stand on this. We need them to, own it. Own it. I mean, they're the ones putting the bills out there. Own it and say, this is why we're doing it. That's why we're making inflation go up right now, because it'll get better later. We know it'll get better later because the truth is it just can't get much worse. But anyway, let's move on. Inflation has just been the bane of evil for small business restaurants, Thompson said. We don't know the prices. They change every Sunday. A year ago in January, I paid $41 for a case of eggs. This past Sunday, I paid $97 for a case of eggs. That's over 2 times the amount. Profits have got to, we've got to have profits. There they go. There they go. They're going off just in eggs. Who would have thought eggs were such a big deal? My mama would, if I know that. At the height of the pandemic, many small business owners took out an economic injury disaster loan, EIDL, from the United States Small Business Administration. Eric Terry, president of Virginia Restaurant, Lodging and Travel Association, said business owners are struggling to stay open, are worried about starting to pay it back. Are you? Are you out there worried about starting to pay it back? I believe that there's a lot of people out there that are worried about starting to pay it back. Unfortunately, most folks are just not prepared for that, he said. That's really a majority of the struggle that they're incurring. It is just trying to keep up with costs. Right. They're trying to balance it right now. Now to have another boom, bam, right on their heads. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Terry said that about 20% of Virginia's restaurants closed during the pandemic. We're going to see some more close right now. Many restaurants are just realizing that they're just not making enough money in this current environment, Terry said. And here's the part that gets to me. Here's the part that really gets to most small businesses, and this is why they're taking the polls right now. Because a change in the polls would mean a change in the SBA administration, which would mean a change in Isabel Guzman and finding somebody else in there that really does know about small businesses and less puppeteering and more knowing really how to handle the job that they've given her. Terry said the National Restaurant Association has asked the federal government for delay on disaster loan payments and interest, but they're still waiting to hear back. That's the problem. I'm seeing that the problem, guys and girls, is many people out there know that it's the problem that the SBA does not respond to anybody. They don't even respond to the Senate committees. They don't even respond to the Congress. When they're asked questions, they don't have answers. They give out these non-answers to the SBA or to the Congress and the senators and just kind of lollygag their way through a 2-hour meeting and never to be heard from again for another 6 months. That's the way it is. But for when the Restaurant Association, the National Restaurant Association asks you, hey, can you defer these for another 6 months or 12 months or, look at the economy. Can't you do that? They don't get back. You either say yes or no. You want transparency? That's it. Yes or no. And the answer right now is they're not getting back. That means no, and they don't want to come out and own it. So ladies and gentlemen, EIDL loan deferment is probably not going to happen because I don't know. I think it's too late for them, and they know it, to play their wild card. So let's go back to the next one. Here's the problem. Administrator Guzman ignores that. This is the one. This is the person that could be saying, let's do it. Let's defer loans. Shh. She signs it. She defers it. She has the authority to do that. They've given her the authority. But Terry said the National Restaurant Association has asked the federal government for a delay on the disaster loan payment and interest, and they're still waiting. So that's the answer we're getting right now from that woman right there, Isabel Guzman. She's done some good things, but really right now, it's what have you done for me lately? We are in a what have you done for me lately world. We're not in a what did you do for me last year or what did you make us do 2 years ago. What have you done for me lately? Nothing. Isabel Guzman was sworn in as the 27th Administrator of the United States Business Administration. On March 17th, 2021, she serves as the voice for America's 32.5 million small businesses and innovative startups in Joe Biden's cabinet. So we have Isabel Guzman in Joe Biden's cabinet with Ben Cardin as the Senate committee and Velasquez as the Congress, as the House. That's not a really good mix from what people are looking at. Those are the 4 people right now that people are looking at saying, what's the problem? Ben Cardin's done some really good stuff. We know that. But this right here, he can't tame this one. And he knows it. She hasn't done anything that he's asked her to do. Hardly. Now, her voice is silent for what? These things right here. EIDL 10K grant policy map. Heard about that? No. No, they don't want to even bring it up in conversation. What about the policy map? That's like saying, oh, no, the policy map. Oh, I'm ducking that conversation. What about EIDL loan deferment? Oh, no, as we've seen from the NRA, they aren't dealing with that. What about EIDL loan forgiveness? Oh, never, nothing. Silence means no. EIDL loan interest relief, silence means no. And that's all we're getting from them right now is silence. They're hoping to do this, I think, in 2024 when they need that presidency again. But, American small businesses are kind of done with what can you do for me? It's what are we going to do to make sure the economy stays right? It isn't even about these things right now, because once they start paying it and they start figuring this out, just wait until the next one comes in. I'm just saying. She's known for this, lack of transparency. She's known for being a Schumer and Biden puppet. She's known for showboating woke ideas. She's known for driving the California economy into the ground before she even became the administrator of the SBA. She will be known for this, losing elections for Democrats. And I'm going to go over more of that right now. Entrepreneurs, we're going to go to Inc.com, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're following me all through this. I hope you're leaving some comments down below and let me know what you're voicing down there, because we do go over the comments, we read them all, and it's kind of hard to read all of them with some of that scam and spam. Don't respond to anybody saying they're going to get you loans or anything like that. But I want to thank you all for hanging in there and being a part of this movement with the small businesses, letting your voices be known. So let me know how you feel about this video down below, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep trying to provide this content for you all you small businesses who need that a shoulder to lean on, a voice for you guys, a real voice, not a political voice. This is Inc.com. I want to thank them for this little article that we're reading right here. It's from them. And entrepreneurs approach midterm elections with inflation on their minds, with congressional control up for grabs. Voters in an increasingly divided nation weigh whether the economy or social issues are more important. You know more about that than I do, probably. Let me know how you feel about the social issues that were played on it, and the hearts and the emotions that were preyed upon with the 2020 election. It was just nuts, and it's still kind of out there nuts. So let's focus on the economy, stupid. Like many voters, entrepreneurs are heading toward the polls for the midterm elections next month with inflation, crime, and social issues on their mind. That's according to Kent Seiler, a professor of political science and public policy at Middle Tennessee University. So we're going with inflation, crime, and social issues on their mind. Okay, we know that. When anyone thinks they're facing a headwind and trying to make their livelihood, they're going to be more energized and more passionate about getting out to vote. Let's go into this one. Entrepreneurs, he's still talking. Entrepreneurs regularly rock the vote. They don't. Small business owners were horrible at going out and voting until now. 86% of the small business owners report plans to vote this year. 86% of small business owners report to vote this year. That's not counting all of them. I believe there's going to be more. According to Goldman Sachs survey polling on nearly 1,500 small business owners who are part of Goldman's 10,000 Small Business Voices program. That's far higher than the 40% average of all voters in midterms, according to Fair Vote. 68% of businesses say that they increased prices on their goods or services. 68% had to increase prices on goods or services. Goldman's September survey shows, and those price increases are a result of business owners themselves facing high costs. It's been brutal, says Brian Pate, the CEO and founder of Elliptigo, describing inflation's impact on his stand-up elliptical bike business in Solana Beach, California. It's been brutal. Costs associated with the company's bill of materials increased more than 25% over the past 14 months. And compared with 2019 levels, total costs associated with the product, which include BOM, duties, warehousing, plus inbound and outbounding shipping, are more than 40% altogether. That's profit. Your profit's gone at that point. Whew. Dang. That's tough, man. That's tough, especially with all the, oh man. Pate says he recently paid $15,000 to get a container delivered from Taiwanese factory to his warehouse in San Diego. 3 years ago, he paid $2,500 for the same container, which fits 100 bikes. In other words, what once cost Pat $25 to deliver each bike now costs $150. And who does that get? I mean, he's the business owner. He's getting screwed. But who's getting screwed even more is you. I mean, a bike he probably could have sold for $79.99. Now he's going to have to start charging $299.99, or who knows, but to get the profits back. Wow. Oh man. You see, it's worse than a lot of people think out there for the small businesses. Inflation and how the government effectively created inflation. That's the key here. The government created this inflation. It didn't just happen. Government effectively created inflation, is now trying to control it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I trust the government controlling inflation. Not this administration anyway. If you put a businessman in there, maybe. Yeah, he could handle it. But these people that are in there right now are not businessmen. And is now trying to control it is probably the biggest driver of wanting to make sure that we have somebody in whatever office I can vote for, whether that's a congressman, senator, or president, to make sure they understand how inflationary forces affect businesses, Pat said. That's where it's at right there. I have to agree with Pat Day 100%. When you had a 50-50 Senate that could be overridden by a vice president who takes the tiebreaker and yep, we're going through with it in a Congress that is just totally whatever. It's a horrible administration for the economy, and a lot of voters are changing that right now. Other entrepreneurs like Hannah Abowd, the owner of Dearborn, Michigan-based bridal boutique Larmore Bridal, are keeping an eye open out for candidates who pledged to reauthorize Small Business Administration. During COVID, we had access to EIDL loans, but as a small business owner, that was very hard to get capital through because the SBA isn't really modern and the way that they function isn't conducive to businesses in 2022, she says. Abowd said that the agency gave her the runaround for 13 months on an EIDL loan. Before her company saw the loan, funding ran out for the program, and the agency closed out all applications without warning, she says. How many of us did that happen to out there? Anybody out there? Did that happen to you where you've got an approval for the SBA loan and then they're saying the money ran out, but then we find out the money didn't run out and then they still don't get back with you? It's been a mess, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a total, utter disaster, and we are not going to take it anymore. The small businesses are getting out there and voting. It's important that you do this with a clear mind and a clear head. If you're voting economics, you know which way to vote. I'm not going to say it here. I'm not trying to push anybody to the left or to the right. I'm just making it fair game, that you are being basically warned by the economy, by the inflation, by all these things on who to vote for if you're a small business. Because if you're going against the grain and you're a small business, there may be no hope. And we are just kicking a dead horse here. So I'm just out here to let you know what small business owners are feeling, the pressures out there that they're feeling, and the need for EIDL deferment needing to be met. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And, a lot of people have already mailed in their votes. It's done. Don't want to talk about it. But there are some people out there that are still thinking they might come through for us here. They might come through for us. And if they don't, later, skater, we could be seeing that as well. So I want you all to let me know what you think down below. And as your small business provider here for updates and news, I want to thank you all for watching. My heart is with you. My heart knows what you're going through because I'm a small business owner myself, and we've seen the struggles coming into facing in America all around. We've just seen it just blow up across this country, and small businesses are feeling the effect like never before. So my heart goes out to you, my prayers go out to you, and we're going to continue fighting for you. So let me know how you're doing down below. And if anybody comments to you down below, and you guys can kind of talk with each other over things, don't trade money or anything like that with anybody else down below or try to get private information. Never, but ideas and stuff are always a good thing. We've got a great community here with small business owners getting together. So I just want to thank you all out there for watching. And somebody say, hey, we still want our 10K.
Yeah.